There is a drug test on your desk, and it is due in 4 hours. You have not been clean in 11 months. If this test comes back the way every honest version of you knows it will, you do not lose your job. You lose your badge, your pension, your case files, and the one thing you have left that makes you feel like the person you used to be before any of this started. You are staring at the plastic cup in your desk drawer and trying to remember how a person who catches criminals for a living became someone who needs a criminal's help to stay free. 3 years ago, you were the best closer in your field office. Not the loudest, not the one who got promoted fastest, the one other agents asked for when a case had gone cold and nobody could find the thread that connected the pieces. You had a gift for sitting very still inside other people's chaos until the pattern showed itself. You also had a back injury from a foot pursuit that ended with you on the wrong side of a fire escape. The surgery went fine. The recovery did not. The pain management doctor gave you a prescription that was supposed to last 6 weeks. You made it stretch to 4 months by being careful about it, by telling yourself you were managing pain like a responsible adult, by believing the version of the story where you were still in control. Then the prescription ended and the pain did not. That is the part nobody warns you about. The pain does not know the prescription ran out. It just keeps showing up at 3 a.m. exactly the way it always did, except now there is nothing standing between you and it. You found a way to keep the pain managed. You are not going to pretend the way you found it was anything other than what it was. You knew a name. Every agent who works narcotics for long enough knows names they are not supposed to know personally. You had spent 4 years building a case against Reyes Castillo, learning his routes, his patterns, his habits, the same way you learned everyone else's patterns. You knew exactly who could get you what you needed without a prescription. You told yourself it was temporary. You told yourself that once the pain settled, you would stop. You have told yourself that every single day for the past 11 months. Here is what nobody explains about being an addict who is also the person whose job is catching addicts and the people who supply them. You start protecting things you used to dismantle. 6 months ago, a junior agent named Patricia Vance flagged Reyes Castillo's name in a routine pattern analysis. She didn't know anything about you. She was just good at her job, the way you used to be good at yours. You buried the flag. Not dramatically, not with a paper trail anyone would notice. You simply reprioritized the caseload the way senior agents are allowed to reprioritize caseloads, and Reyes Castillo's name disappeared back into the noise of 40 other open files. You told yourself you would pick it back up later, once you had found another way to manage the pain, once you didn't need him anymore. You have not found another way. You have not stopped needing him. The drug test on your desk exists because Patricia Vance noticed something else, not about Reyes Castillo this time, about you. She noticed you requesting case files on Reyes Castillo's distribution network that had nothing to do with any active investigation you were assigned to. She noticed the timing of your absences. She noticed the way your hands shake during morning briefings before your first coffee, the way you used to notice things about other people before you stopped noticing things about yourself. She did not go to your supervisor directly. She came to you first. 3 days ago, she sat across from your desk and asked you quietly whether everything was okay. You told her it was. She looked at you the way you used to look at suspects who were lying to you, and then she said she had requested a random compliance test for the unit, the kind that gets approved automatically and cannot be traced back to any one person's concern. She was giving you a chance to fix this before it became official. You did not take it. You told yourself 3 days was enough time to figure something out. It was not enough time to figure anything out. It was exactly enough time to watch the deadline get closer while doing nothing that mattered. You call Reyes Castillo's number from a payphone outside a pharmacy you've never been to before. This is new. You have never called him directly. Your arrangement has always run through an intermediary, the way every careful arrangement does, the way you yourself taught younger agents that careful criminals operate. He answers on the second ring. You ask if there is a way to pass a federal drug screening. There is a long pause on the line, the kind of pause that tells you he's deciding how much this information is worth and how much leverage it gives him over a federal agent who has just admitted, out loud, on a recorded line he does not control, exactly what he needs and exactly how desperate he is to get it. He tells you there is a way. He tells you it's going to cost you something other than money. You ask what? He tells you he needs eyes inside an upcoming federal operation, not details about Reyes Castillo's own operation, details about a different supplier the Bureau has been building a case against for 18 months, a supplier Reyes Castillo apparently considers a rival worth eliminating through federal hands instead of his own. You understand immediately what he is asking. He wants you to leak an active investigation, not to protect him, to destroy someone else. You stand outside that pharmacy for 11 minutes after the call ends. You think about Patricia Vance asking if you were okay. You think about the version of yourself who spent 4 years building the Reyes Castillo case before any of this started. The version of you who believed that what you did mattered because it kept actual harm away from actual people. You think about an 18-month investigation built by other agents who trust the system the way you used to trust the system, about being handed to a drug supplier as a personal favor so that you can pass a urine test by 5 p.m. today. You think about your badge. You think about the version of you on the other side of that badge, the one who arrests people for exactly this kind of trade. The phone is still warm in your hand. You have made worse decisions than this one in the past 11 months. This is the first one that wouldn't just destroy you. You do not go back to Reyes Castillo. You drive to the field office instead, and you sit in the parking lot for 40 minutes before you go inside. And when you finally walk through the door, you do not go to your desk. You go to Patricia Vance. She is at her desk, the same desk she was at 3 days ago when she gave you a chance you didn't take. And when she sees your face, she already knows this conversation is different from the last one. You tell her everything. The injury, the prescription, the 4 months that became 11, the name you should never have used, the flag you buried, the test on your desk, and the phone call you just made, and the 18-month investigation that a drug supplier just asked you to burn down in exchange for a clean cup of urine. She does not say anything for a long time. Then she asks you one question. Did you give him anything? You tell her no. She believes you not because she trusts you blindly, but because she has spent 6 months watching you careful enough to know the difference between a lie and the truth. The same skill you taught half the junior agents in this building before you stopped being someone worth learning from. She picks up her phone, not to call your supervisor, to call the agency's employee assistance program, the one neither of you has ever had to use before, the one that exists specifically for federal agents who are still inside the line, but standing close to seeing what's on the other side of it. The drug test still happens. It comes back exactly the way you knew it would, but it happens inside a process you walked into yourself, instead of one that found you. And that difference is the only thing standing between mandatory treatment with your job held open and a federal indictment with your career, your pension, and your freedom gone entirely. The 18-month investigation continues without your involvement, the way it always should have, the way it would have if you had never made that call. Reyes Castillo is arrested 4 months later, part of an operation you have no role in and never see the files for, because by then you're somewhere else, doing the only job that matters now, which is staying upright one day at a time in a treatment facility that doesn't care about your case closure rate. 8 months after that, you're back at your desk. Different unit, different caseload, the same badge, but you carry it differently now, the way a person carries something they understand they almost lost completely. Patricia Vance still sits 2 desks away. She doesn't bring up that day, and you don't either. But every so often you catch her watching you the way she used to watch you before any of this happened. Not with suspicion anymore, with something closer to relief. You think about the version of yourself who stood outside that pharmacy with a phone still warm in his hand, 11 minutes from making a decision that would have ended everything that mattered.
You did not become that version. You became the version who walked back through the door instead, the one who told the truth to someone who had already given him every reason not to deserve a second chance. You were the best closer in your field office once because you had a gift for sitting very still inside other people's chaos until the pattern showed itself. It turns out the hardest pattern you ever had to find was your own.